What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be playing some Mono Steel, which is always been a traditionally very strong type in the Monotype tier, and it's no different here in NatDex. I have decided, however, to do something a little bit different today. I'm not going for the typical Steel team you see, so I'm not running anything like Corviknight, Skarmory, Celesteela. I am going for a entirely Trick Room offensive Steel team, so hopefully it does well. It's a pretty fun team to use in practice. And with that, let's jump right into the team. So the first member is Bronzong, and Bronzong is going to be a pretty important first member as it's going to be the cornerstone of the Trick Rooming. So with Trick Room and Explosion, I can easily Trick Room into Boom, which nicely lets me go into something really offensive threat like Melmetal, Heatran, and Aegislash, for example, and just start commencing a sweep. We have Stealth Rock as well, which is very good for breaking Sashes and Sturgy, which my team doesn't necessarily like outside of Melmetal, who can easily break them itself with Double Iron Bash. But things like Heatran, spamming Eruption, I'd rather their Sash or Sturdy is broken before I come in and start spamming that move. And finally, a Body Press, since it is a physically defensive max HP Bronzong, Body Press is going to do a decent chunk of damage. It's good for hitting like Steel types, Dark types, normal types, and just generally doing a lot of damage if I don't want to Boom. Though generally speaking, Trick Room into Boom is going to be the opening, maybe Stealth Rock in the case that I can live an opponent's hit. Item wise, we have Mental Herb, which is very important because it stops things like Encore, Taunt Lead, anti setup, because setup is so important on this team. And finally, we have Levitate to take care of ground types. We actually have a few ways to take care of ground types in the tier and the team because we don't have any flyers, but Levitate Bronzong is quite nice. Heatproof is also good. It half damage from fire attacks, which can be quite nice. We of course do have Heatproof or Flash Fire Heatran to eat fire moves, but Heatproof can be nice to bluff the Levitate because oftentimes the case people will not try attack you with a ground move against a Bronzong. But next up we have Stakataka, and Stakataka is going to be my second Trick Roomer on the team. This is going to be much more of an offensive Trick Roomer. This is kind of my late game sweeping Pokemon, so when the other Trick Roomers are gone, or when my other offensive threats are gone, or the team is kind of weakened, Stakataka theoretically should be able to come in and commence a sweep. So its typing is also extremely handy for a Steel team. Its part Rock typing on paper looks quite bad because we're going to be 4x from fighting and ground. However, it does bring a neutrality to Fire, which is very good against the Fire matchup. Generally, it's bulky enough to live most Fire hits, get a Trick Room up, and then potentially sweep. So stat-wise, this is a super important build. We are max attack Lonely Nature with 13 defense IVs, and the reason for that is we need to have one more point in attack than defense for Beast Boost to activate and give us plus attack. We have 0 speed as well to max power on Gyro Ball, as well as just being super fast under Trick Room, and the rest I've pumped into HP just to be able to take a mix of physical and special hits. Though if you are particularly worried about fire attacks, max special defense is pretty nice against things like Charizard, Wind the Sun with Fire Blast and stuff, so that can be an option too. We have Air Balloon to guarantee 8 hits from ground attacks like Earthquake. We can swap in Earthquakes, especially a choice locked one if our Bronzong is dead, and then we can trick him up and again potentially start his sweep. So the whole thing is we want Stakataka to live a hit and then get trick him up and potentially snowball with Beast Boost. Moveset wise, we have Heat Crash, which is really good for things like Ferrothorn, opposing Steel types. Even some Grass types can give me a bit of trouble, so Heat Crash is very, very good. Stakataka is very heavy, so generally speaking, it's going to be like 120 base, which is quite ideal. Gyro Ball is an extremely powerful stab move. Most of the time, it's going to be 150 base against anything with any semblance of speed. That's 150 base stab before any beast boosts. Gyro Ball can become extremely, extremely powerful and just sweep through teams. And Stone Edge is not the most reliable with 80% accuracy, but it's super important for flying types, which can give my team a bit of trouble, honestly. Stone Edge is also good for fire types, which wall out Heat Crash and Gyro Ball. It is stab, so it's going to be 150 base with high critical hit ratio. Can also come in quite handy against things like maybe an Iron Defense Pokemon who wants to body press my team, which can easily live Heat Crash or Gyro Ball. Stone Edge can potentially crit through that and get the KO, which is very, very good. So next up we have Melmetal, and Melmetal is probably the offensive anchor on the team. Melmetal is going to be max attack adamant with choice band, so this thing hits absolutely obscenely hard. With max attack, adamant, choice band, and Iron Fist as well, it boosts double Iron Bash to disgustingly high levels of power. I think it's 72 base, hits twice and is stab on top of that, and can potentially flinch. So this thing is just insane. Unless you resist double Iron Bash, it's going to KO you pretty much straight out. It ignores Sashes and Sturdy because it hits twice. It can break through substitutes. Screens don't even let Pokemon really resist this thing because it's so obscenely powerful. So Iron Fist also boosts things like Ice Punch, which is very good for the ground matchup, which can give me trouble. Things like Garchomp, even dragons like Latias, we can just Ice Punch those and clean through those teams. So 75 base isn't the most powerful on paper, but bear in mind it is Iron Fist boosted, so it does become quite strong. Same goes with Thunder Punch, but Thunder Punch is mostly there for the water matchup, or for things like Pelipper, potentially Toxapex. Water does give my team a lot of trouble, so it's super important. And finally, we have Earthquake for opposing steel types, or more importantly, I guess, the electric matchup, because again, electric and water are probably the two hardest matchups for my team, just because they resist double Iron Bash, and that's going to be one of the cornerstones to me winning the game. I forgot to mention as well, this is minimum speed, which is super important because you want to be as fast as possible in Trick Room, which also lets double Iron Bash potentially flinch my opponents. Next up, we have Choice Specs Heatran. Now, unfortunately, Heatran isn't that slow even with min speed, but it will still outspeed things that have speed investment, or it will outspeed potentially slower Pokemon outside of Trick Room, like Toxapex, the Slow Twins, and whatnot. Heatran can still potentially work outside of Trick Room as well. Stat-wise, you're max HP just to be able to try and live as much of the attacks as we can. It's quite bulky. Its defenses are 248, 249, which is very, very respectable. And the rest we pumped all into special attack with Choice Specs. This makes Choice Specs Eruption become insanely powerful. It can easily clean through so many teams that don't have a fire resist or fire immunity. We also have Earth Power for things like opposing Heatran can be quite annoying. Toxapex as well doesn't particularly like eating a Specs Earth Power, and just generally steal Pokemon that may be able to take Eruption. Flash Cannon is there as a backup stab. It's quite nice for things that resist maybe fire, like rock types. Again, they're not going to be a huge trouble to the team because Melmetal should be able to clean through most of those with Flash Cannon as well, maybe for dragons as well. To resist my fire or potentially levitate, such as the Latias. Specs Flash Cannon can be quite strong. And finally, we have Flamethrower for a backup fire move. So Eruption is less powerful as my HP decreases, so it's super powerful at max HP. If we Trick Room into Boom into Heatran, we can potentially spam Eruptions and get tons of damage. But if we're constantly swapping on things like Spikes, Stealth Rocks, or taking Priority Chip, Flamethrower will eventually be more powerful. And I don't want my only fire stab to be Eruption. So next up we have Scizor, and Scizor is kind of going to be a strange one. It's going to be a physically defensive Curse Mega Scizor. So generally speaking, you see Swords Dance offensive Scizor a lot, but I realized my team is still quite weak to Earthquake, despite the fact having an Air Balloon and a Stack Attacka, and Bronzong, and generally weak to fighting types as well. So I think Scizor is quite nice for that. Its max defense allows it to easily eat things like Earthquakes, close combats, from two very tough matchups, because its bug typing makes it neutral to both ground and fighting. It can boost its attack up even further with the likes of Curse, as well as boosting its defense, which makes this thing extremely physically defensive. We have Curse to, so you have Roost to for longevity, which can heal up after my Scizor takes a lot of beatings, so maybe close combats, instead Earthquakes, we can just roost that off constantly and become very healthy. So Bullet Punch will ignore my speed drops with Curse, which is very good because it's going to be Technician Stab boosted. So it's going to be 90 base, which is very, very, very strong. And especially with some plus stages in attack, this thing could become an extremely threatening late game sweeper when most of my opponents, especially attacking Pokemon, are taken care of. Finally, we have Dual Wing Beat, and Dual Wing Beat isn't that strong. It's only 40 base normally, but it is Technician boosted to 60 base by 2, which is very good for fighting types because the fighting type does give me a lot of trouble. Also, thanks to Scizorite, it can't be knocked off, so generally speaking, a lot of fighting type Pokemon carry knockoff to take care of things like Ghosts, which will, of course, affect my Aegislash, but that's not going to be the case for Scizor, so this thing can be quite nicely, work quite nicely. You might be wondering why I run Light Metal, and that's because Technician doesn't actually work with Curse. Curse is, I think, a Gen 2 event move only, so we can't get Technician. However, it will get Technician upon Mega Evolving, which is super, super important. And last but not least, we do have Aegislash. Aegislash is going to be pretty important for the fighting type matchup, and that's because it stops my opponent from just spamming close combat and potentially winning the game. It is going to be a spell tag Aegislash, which is kind of strange to some people. Some people often ask me would I not consider using things like Life Orb. And the reason I personally like Spell Tag is it increases my Ghost moves by 1.2 times power, which is definitely not as strong as Life Orb, but we don't take the chip, and Aegislash is kind of a weird mix of offensive and defensive thanks to its stance change and the very nature of how it works. We're going to run Min Speed, which lets me outspeed a lot of things in Trick Room. However, when Trick Room wears out, we can potentially King Shield up and lower my opponent's attack a stage, and then be slower than them, therefore take the hit in Shield form before going back into Blade form and potentially KOing. So, the Min Speed works both in Trick Room and outside Trick Room. We are max special attack, quiet nature with max HP. The max HP, it doesn't provide amazing HP for Aegislash, but it does make it still somewhat bulky, especially in shield form with amazing defenses. Moveset wise, we have Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball is super important for spell tag spamming. It's just generally going to be quite strong. I think it's 92 base, no, 96 base, and then it has stab on top of that, so generally a very strong move. Sacred Sword is very good for body pressers like Magnezone, Ferrothorn, Corviknight. Things that want to iron defense and maybe body press my team, which my team is very, very weak to. Aegislash is immune to body press. It's a fighting type move. And on top of that, Sacred Sword is going to ignore my opponent's defense stages, which is super, super good. We have Shadow Sneak for a bit of priority, just to take care of things that are sashed or maybe sturdy. Or potentially live a Shadow Ball. Shadow Sneak can often pick them off. It's going to be powered up by Spell Tag and Stab as well, which is quite good. And finally King Shield, because it's just a very important move for Mal's Aegislash. So before we jump into some teams, I want to ask you, what is your favorite Steel type Pokemon? For me, I think it has to be Jirachi. For some reason, I'm just a big Jirachi fan. I've liked it ever since Generation 3. I actually owned Pokemon Channel on the GameCube. Very strange game, but or I think it's called Pokemon Channel, Pokemon TV or something. I owned it on the GameCube, and you got like a Jirachi mystery prize if you linked it to your GBA, and ever since then, I just really, really enjoyed using it. Also, its move Doom's Desire is just super, super cool. So with that, let's pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Water. Now, right off the bat, things like Greninja and Sharpedo are kind of threatening. Swampert is too. They don't seem to have rain, so it's potentially not Mega Swampert, which is pretty good for me. I think we're going to open Bronzong here. They open Greninja. Let's try Trick Room. Don't think my team beats this. Maybe. Let's see. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get Trick Room up as soon as possible. Do I value rocks? I feel like I do, yeah. Surging Strikes is not going to KO me, and we'll just boom here. What do I put into that? That did so much. That did so much damage. I feel like I should go into Heatran. I feel like Heatran's completely useless in this game. Though Slowking probably walls it out entirely. I want to keep my Staka healthy, as well as my Scizor, especially until things like Rotom are taken care of. I guess Aegislash is the play. Nothing particularly like Swampy and Aegislash. And Shadow Balls should get a KO here. If they go into Greninja, we'll King Shield to get in my Blade form. My Shield form, sorry. They go into Sharpedo. I think this... Oof. Did they protect? They almost certainly protect. So we can afford a Sacred Sword here. And the reason for that is we can King Shield afterwards. If I King Shielded on their protect, it might not have worked in my favor. Perfect. So we're in Shield form now. And this is probably Mega. Do I live a crunch? Oh, they protect again. This is interesting. I'm not sure what their endgame is here. Because I can always go into my Heatran, for example, and then potentially curse up with Scizor. They don't have any way of boosting themselves. Nice. That's exactly what I wanted, the defense drop. So we're actually going to go into Heatran here, on the protect. Oh, they just crunch again. This is fine. I think I'm okay with my Heatran dying. As I said, it really doesn't serve much of a role in this game. And it actually survives a close combat. And Earth Power KOs, that is really, really surprising, but really fantastic for me. Slowking is definitely a threat. But I think as long as I keep my Aegislash as healthy as possible, it should be able to do work. We just live U-turn. And they give me chip on Swampert. We'll take those. We'll take those. If they choose to get up rocks, that's fine. I think I still value chip on Swampert. Okay, perfect. Giving me momentum is pretty good. Especially because Rotom is one of the biggest threats to my team. I think Aegislash is pretty much the only thing that can reasonably take care of it with a Spell Tag Shadow Ball. They probably switch into Greninja. Great play. But Greninja's still going to take a lot of chip. 42% with rocks, pretty good. I have a feeling they're Hydro Vortex. I don't know why. Okay, they go for a Dark Pulse. I reasonably don't have a swap into this. I guess Melmetal should live too, and that's their specs. Nice. We double Iron Bash, even though Rotom can easily swap in on that. I mean, that's still over 50% with rocks, which is really good. We'll double Iron Bash once more. I expected them to go for a Wisp or a Volt Switch on the Aegislash. The Wisp missing is huge for me. Because I don't think Swampert 1-hit KOs this. And as long as I can force the Greninja into Dark Pulse again, I'm pretty sure Bullet Punch Scizor KOs. This thing is just a monster. It is so ridiculously strong. Who allows Mono Steel to get away with what it does? Perfect. So forcing that into a Dark Pulse is pretty good for me. As it allows me to take in my Scizor potentially and just click Bullet Punch. Yeah, I think that's the play. Actually, Dual Wing Beat is probably the play on Slowking coming in. Because I don't think Dark Pulse KOs me unless they flinch. Nice. And Slowking, even if it's Fire Blast, shouldn't be able to take care of Aegislash. Between Shadow Ball and Shadow Sneak, I think I can chip it down quite nicely. And it is heavy duty boots, meaning it's not Assault Vest, which is pretty good for me. Skull Burn would suck. Because they can just slack off now. Either way, I think it's okay for me. Once I get in my Aegislash and just start spamming Shadow Ball, I think the game is as good as over. If I'm not mistaken. Let's throw a timer on here. And my opponent ends up... Do I change anything? They end up leaving. So I'm going to pause and be right back there. So we have a game against Mono Dragon now. There are some serious threats on their team, namely Komodo and Garchomp are extremely, extremely scary for my team. So I think I want to try... Ooh, they open up with this. I'd like to try to come down turn 1. They are Life Orb. Now the question is, do I value rocks? And the answer is yes, always, I think. Because right now I can take in Melmetal and just start clicking double Iron Bash. The only thing that could potentially live one is probably Garchomp, and even then, I don't think it does. Well, this dies. This straight up dies. It is Rocky Helmet. That was clever of them to get chip. Komodo is such a threat. And I recently took off Air Slash and Aegislash in favor of Sacred Sword for normal types, but I feel like maybe I should have kept Air Slash. Either way, this pretty much takes 3 KOs. And my opponent doesn't have much of a choice in the matter. I mean, depending on the Komodo set, if it's that Clangorous Soul, then I'm in trouble. If it's Belly Drum, I strangely might be able to live. This, I think, KOs. Oh my god, does that KO? Yes. Melmetal is genuinely a monster. Hydreigon comes in. Okay. I was expecting Komodo, so I'm going to simply sack Heatran here. 2 Earth Power, that's completely fine by me. Assuming I don't flinch to Gyro Ball here, I can get my Trick Room up. Not Gyro Ball, sorry, Dark Pulse. I can get Trick Room up. And just start Gyro Balling. For some decent chip. Oh, it's bulletproof. Interesting. We'll go AG here. It is Clangor Soul Blaze. That's interesting. I usually see them as soundproofs. That's really interesting. Great play on my opponent's part. We'll Shadow Ball here for a wee bit of chip. I'm so bad. But if all they can do is Rock Slide, are we able to live this? Are they not Flamethrower? They've got to be Drain Punch, right? Ooh, that crit's exceptionally good for me. Because I can potentially get in Scizor here. Assuming they're not Flamethrower, I think Dual Wing beat KOs. They're Drain Punch. It doesn't do too much, actually. And indeed it KOs. Now, Lati is a threat and a half. Bullet Punch KOs this, right? No, it doesn't. Oh, that's rough. We have to assume Mel lives an attack from Latios, which I feel like it doesn't. It's probably Aura Sphere. Oh, you trooper. Yeah, that was nasty. We'll have to double Iron Bash here. We actually do live because our T-Ball. GG. Pretty close game there. That was a big threat. Honestly, maybe I should have sacked something to the Hydreigon to guarantee it getting range of Life Orb, or I should have actually damage calced it, but here we are. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Bug. Things like Volcarona are a pretty big threat to my team, as well as potentially Beedrill. I do like Heatran a lot in this game. I think Melmetal's also very good. I think Melmetal's just a good Pokemon. It's just stupidly good, but I think I need it more. Yeah, maybe. So they probably U-turn here, which is fine. The Drill Run turn 1 is great because it lets me to Trick them up and then just boom in their face. We'll go straight for a boom here. It's straight up KOs, which is fantastic because with the rocks, I think potentially Eruption Heatran goes really hard right now. That is slower than me though. So they get rid of the rocks. Heatran, why are you so fast? Either way, Eruption is still extremely powerful here. The only thing that's particularly threatening, I feel, is Volcarona. We Eruption. Oh, it's Sash. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and save this. For Volk. Huh. What do we sack here? Maybe Scizor? Are they not Protect? Oh, they just forfeit. Okay. I guess they didn't have Protect, but either way, it was pretty rough for me because I'm not sure how I was going to take down Volcarona. I think Stakataka, being healthy, between Stakataka and Heatran, I think I could have done it. So with that, we're going to pause and be right. So we have a game here against Mono Poison now. Ordinarily, this is a pretty doable matchup for Steel, though Toxapex is a big issue for my team, so I definitely have to worry about that. I think we're going to open Bronzong, as usual. Try and get some cheeky rocks down as early as possible. Thankfully, Toxic Spikes are completely useless against me. You can Scald all you want. They probably honestly spin this away. No, they go for a Scald again. And we're just going to go ahead and boom in their face. That did a hefty chunk. Which means I think I can take in Melmetal here relatively easily. Heatran can't come in just yet. I think I need to save Heatran's Specs Earth Power for Toxapex, so if I can find a way to force in Weezing. Now Pex probably comes in here and goes for a Scald Burn. So what we're going to do is go into EG. And just go for a Shadow Ball. They can easily go into Muck. They get the burn, unfortunately. But Spell-Tag Shadow Ball is still decently strong. I mean, it's not amazing, but decently strong. Oh, wow. Okay. They didn't swap out, and we get the KO. That's fantastic for us. Honestly, I'm pretty comfortable sacking my Aegislash at this point in the game because it's basically pursuit bait for Muck anyway. Let's go ahead and Shadow Ball here. We should live in Earth Power pretty convincingly. And get a good bit of chip here. Wow. Okay, that crit was massive. Now, part of me is tempted to just straight up sack Aegislash to try and get in my Staka. And we're going to Trick Room into Gyro Ball here. If I get the KO, I think it's really, really good for me. What base power is Gyro Ball? 119? Yeah, it's stronger. Nice. So with +1, this thing becomes a massive threat immediately. Even though Slowking's not going to take much from Gyro Ball, as long as I manage to hit my Stone Edge, I'm pretty convinced it's going to do a lot of damage. This KOs, assuming it hits. Nice. And then I think we can just click Gyro Ball into Gyro Ball. No matter how slow this is still +2. Minimum 75 base stab, which is extremely strong. And Weezing dies to this. GG. So that's a pretty nice matchup for Steel once you can take care of big threats like Pex. Them giving me Pex on EG was massive. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Dragon. So Dragon B can be quite threatening. I do think Melmetal goes in insanely hard in this game, though we do have to worry about things like Komodo. I'm going to lead Bronzong. They lead Lati. I'll Trick Room turn 1. I kind of value rocks a lot in this game, but I'm scared they're like... If they are specs, I can go Heatran. T-Wave, that's fine. I value rocks a lot just to try and like force swap outs. Or punish swap outs. So we'll Trick Room into Boom here. Excellent, that is fantastic for me. So now basically my Melmetal just straight up gets 3 KOs and there's not too much my opponent can do about that. Maybe Dragonite can live if it's heavy duty boots, potentially, but it also has to survive a flinch chance, which is pretty rough. We know from previous games Garchomp does not live. If it's Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin, which it is, I get punished quite heavily for it, but that's okay. We just have to take those. Now, Komodo is a big, big, big threat to my team, so I definitely have to be quite wary of that. Though I feel like, for the most part, Melmetal has served its purpose now. Oh, it's slower. So if they go into Komodo, in fears of them potentially going for like a sub-belly drum sweep, I'm just gonna go straight and double Iron Bash here. They go for a Clangorous Soul Blaze. I hate this move so much. Yeah, we don't live that at all. So I'm pretty certain this thing can straight up kill me. If it's Flamethrower, which they generally are. I think they're generally Flamethrower and Drain Punch. Oh, okay, they Clangorous Scales. Ah, they're bulletproof. I'm seeing a lot of bulletproof Komodos around recently. I thought they were usually soundproof to take care of the opposing matchup. The Ditto. Okay. We're gonna Sacred Sword here. If I can force them to lower their defense over and over, I think Sacred Sword into Shadow Sneak can potentially do a good chunk of damage. I'm surprised they haven't gone for other moves yet. We'll Sacred Sword again. Now the question is, if I can get one more, I do think I can KO with Sacred Sword into Shadow Sneak, but I think the better play is probably honestly just to go for a Shadow Sneak right now, and go into Bullet Punch Scizor afterwards. It does the same thing. It gets the KO. They want to cure him. I mean, I'll take damage and cure him because Komodo is dead when it comes back in. Hmm. I'm curious to see what their Dragonite is. It could be Fire Punch. They seem to want to get it out quite quickly. Or was that just a straight up throw? I'm not quite sure. Okay, they end up forfeiting, so for some reason they threw the Kyurem there. I know Komodo was dead, but potentially Dragonite could have dealt with Scizor, though it is bulky curse, so it is difficult. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Electric. This is a pretty difficult matchup for Steel, all things considered. It can be quite tough. It does resist my stabs, though I do think Eruption Heatran goes in kind of crazy in this game, as well as Stakataka. They open up a Bronzong. Okay. We're gonna try and... Ooh, that did a lot. Is that banded? That's surely banded. That's gotta be banded. Which is pretty bad for me. We're gonna take in Scizor here. Just dual wing beat. It's not gonna do much to Rotom, but I expected Rotom to come in. It missed. Okay. Pretty bad for me. The Volt Switch, I suppose, is okay. Into the Zapdos. They're going to Heat Wave me. But this lets me get in my stack, which I need pretty badly right now. So losing my Bronzong early is very bad for me, actually. Rotom Wash. I'll Stone Edge. Bit of chip. Or not. Or we just miss Stone Edge. This is some Bright Powder Rotom or something. That's pretty bad for me. I was hoping they'd KO me with Hydro Pump. Would be a free pivot into my Heatran. Oh my god. That's crazy. Oof. All good. Oh god, it happens. Yeah, this is Spadef Rotom as well. This game is as good as over. Unfortunately. There is nothing I can do. And the crit. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. It's just, it's insult to injury at this stage. Okay, well, I did say it was a tough matchup, but I didn't expect it to be this tough. Losing my Bronzong early was very bad. I realistically should not have risked it. They probably roost here. Let's go into Heatran just in case they decide to Heatwave. I mean, Flamethrower is not going to KO anything, and the extra crit. Okay. It was not fated to be this game. This probably doesn't even KO. Not even close. We do burn, which I suppose is something, but realistically, all it takes is Bandit Zeraora to come out and click close combat and win the game. If I can take one Pokemon down, I'll consider it a victory at this stage. Just the one. Let's Earth Power here. They probably Volt Switch into Rotom anyway. So much crits. It happens. Yeah, they're gonna Volt Switch into Rotom here, I think. No. They Volt Switch into Zeraora. I got 1 KO. It's a victory. We count it. We'll take that. So yeah, this matchup was it was rough. And with that, we're gonna pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono fighting. Now this is rough. I think Komodo alone is going to be extremely scary for me. What we're going to try to do here is get a Bronzong. Try get it to set up Trick Room as early as possible. I'm not messing around with this. We're going to Trick Room turn 1. Do I value rocks? Not entirely. I value Explosion for it more, I think. Because this lets me take in either Melmetal or Heatran. I think Scizor and EG are quite good in this game. I think I want to take care of Resolute, Keldeo, and Infernape first. The problem is if I go into Heatran and click Eruption, it invites in Keldeo. If I go into Melmetal, it also invites in Keldeo. Let's go Heatran. Specs Eruption. Oh, their Mach Punch. I should have seen that come in. That's really, really bad for me. Because that can potentially let them set up in my face. We'll eruption anyway. It's not going to be very effective, but 44% is still a really decent chunk. This is going to do much less now. And they're probably Drain Punch. Yeah, they're Drain Punch. Okay, this is bad for me. Aegislash will have to work its wonders. Is this also bulletproof? I've seen so many bulletproof Komodos today. I don't know what to trust anymore. Oh, they swap out into Gallade. Interesting. That's really good for me, actually. I'm not going to King Shields. That's probably exactly what they want. This game got pretty... It's doable. It's rough, but it's doable. We'll go Melmetal here. I think Melmetal more or less gets a KO. Keldeo and Urshifu can probably live, but I'm also pretty convinced I can live and attack from them. Okay. Getting Komodo is not bad. We live Secret Sword. Convincingly enough, and it's a Life Orb, okay. That does so much damage, and that opens up my Scizor so much in the endgame, which is very good. Now, unfortunately, Urshifu is still a big threat. Zapdos should be livable. I'm going to curse once on the Brave Bird with Thunderous Kick. That's bad for me. This got pretty rough. I think dueling BKO's here. But the question is, does Urshifu KO me? And the answer is yes, it definitely does. We go Staka, Triforce of Close Combat. If it's Choice Scarf, I think I win the game. I think Scizor survives one close combat and dueling Michi KO. Oh, and they crit GG. That, let's check the calc there. I'm pretty sure I live. Urshifu, because it's probably Choice Scarf. Close combat. Okay, 41%. What does that do? 44%? Close combat, 45 to 53. Okay. Assuming it was adamant, if it's Jolly. Close combat is 41 to 49, so it was a roll in their favor anyway, so... Okay. Wait, that's not Mega Evolved yet, though. Is this Mega Evolved? No, this is regular Scizor. How do I Mega Evolve this? It doesn't matter. Either way, if I Mega Evolved, assuming this was Jolly, that probably wouldn't have KO'd, which really, really, really sucks to crit, because my Dual Wing Beat definitely would have KO'd at -1. With Technician and -1, Dual Wing Beat absolutely would have KO'd, so GG anyway. We're going to pause there and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Bug. This game can be... It can be difficult. Things like Shedinja honestly give my team a lot of trouble, so I have to keep things like Scizor and Aegislash healthy. Volcarona is also a big threat, as well as Heracross. I'm going to open up Melmetal as I expect them to open Shuckle, and I'm pretty sure Double Iron Bash just straight up KOs this thing. Yeah, that's absolutely monstrously powerful. Now, going into Heatran on the Buzzwole, sorry, the Volcarona is threatening. Okay. They're taking Shedinja. I feel like Stakataka and Heatran have to stay healthy for the likes of Volcarona. I'll go Agi here. That might have been a bad play considering they could have Poltergeist me, and that would be very bad against Heracross. So what I'm going to actually do here... This is tough. I'll go Heatran. Okay. They want to spin Heracross. Is this close combat? I feel... They're not going to close combat me when I have my Aegislash. They're going to go to Bronzong and get my rocks up. I think it's the best play here. It eats close combat, it eats Earthquake, it eats everything I could have gone for to realistically damage my team. And we're going to Rocks Up right now. Rocks Up is super good. I feel like my stack is going to live the Volcarona. We'll go Heatran. And just try Flamethrower here. Ooh, that did a lot. So I think I definitely need to keep Aegislash healthy for Heracross. We know now that Bronzong can more or less wall it out. Oh, that is good damage. That is excellent damage. Even if they Quiver Dance, if they Roost, I can just spam Flamethrower here, and I'm pretty much guaranteed to get a KO. Okay, you can Flash Fire me. I'm cool with that. The worst they could have done is maybe Hidden Power Ground, and I'm not even sure that many Volcanos run that, so this is probably the choice scarf. We're going to go Bronzong again. They might knock off. They close combat. It does not do too much. And this lets me get up my Trick Room into Explosion. Okay, they're heavy duty boots. That's good to know. Honestly, I'm just going to explode. I don't care that doesn't even kill, because I think I need to get in my Stakataka here and just start clicking Heat Crash. Because that gets me +1 right now. These three die to Heat Crash. They could go into Yanmega and try Protect, but then my bulky Mega Scizor is really, really good against their team. So even if Pinsir wants to like spam close combat, I have Aegislash and bulky Scizor to eat Earthquake, so I think my team is more or less in a decent position. GG. I'm guessing they're not Protect on Yanmega. I don't think there's anything Yanmega can do to want to KO my metal, and I can just simply click Double Iron Bash for game. I guess theoretically they could flinch me, but even still, I don't think 23 is enough, so good game there. With that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Grass. Now this team, it can be pretty threatening. Things like Mega Venusaur and Ferrothorn are honestly going to give me a bit of trouble, so I think we're just going to open up a Heatran as they open up Venusaur. Now, I'm not about to be Earth powered, so I'm going to go into Bronzong here. And we're going to try get my rocks down. So obviously keeping Heatran as healthy as possible is extremely important. And we can potentially get rocks, Trick Room into Boom here. Which is pretty nice for me. They go Pharaoh. We'll go Heatran here. I outspeed without Trick Room. And I think, honestly, Specs Eruption, even if this is thick fast, this is going to do a lot of damage. Yes, very much so. Now the question is, do I... It's probably going to Synthesis on me. I'm going to go back into Bronzong. Now, I need to keep Heatran healthy for the likes of Ferrothorn, because Ferrothorn does wall out my team pretty badly. But if we can get my Trick Room up with Stakataka, Heat Crash actually does quite a lot here. I'm real tempted to double into Heatran here. It's a bad play. It's a bad play. Okay, they Synthesis. Should I go into Scizor? And try dueling beat here? Is this Hidden Power Fire? Probably not. Let's go back into Heatran. It is Hidden Power Fire. Okay, that was a crazy clutch play on my part. And we're going to click Flamethrower here. It kills Venusaur if it comes in. It kills Ferrothorn. The only thing I think that can survive is probably Cradily, but even still, it would be too KO'd, so... I'm playing this Heatran way too risky when it's my win con against the Ferrothorn. This is going to knock. I'm going to Flamethrower here. Oh, it's super powered. That's not good for me. Not good for me at all. We can get in Scizor here. And honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and try Curse Up. Now, depending on what set this Ferrothorn is, it could be a threat to me. But if I can Curse Up enough, I could potentially just win by Bullet Punch and Dual Wing Beat. If it's Seed... Is that Hidden Power Fire? That's really bizarre. Also, I made a big mistake, I think, there. Not roosting. Okay, that looks like it's actually going to do too much damage to me to roost off with the seeds. So we're going to have to swap in here. I think Aegi's a good play. Spell Tag Shadow Ball is just going to do a lot of damage to this. Even if it seeds here. Okay, they give me Mega Venusaur, which is what I really, really want for Stack Attack. We'll sneak. Just to guarantee the KO here. That's pretty nice for me. As long as I can damage this to the extent that I can get in my Stack Attacker and start clicking Heat Crash, I'm pretty happy. Their last move's gotta be Protect, right? I feel it has to be Protect as their last move. Let's get in Bronzong. And we're going to try Trick Room into Explosion. Body Press does more. It does a decent bit, I suppose. Okay, I think we just have to boom here. What's their last move? Is it Toxic, maybe? Okay, it is Protect. That's okay with me. Wasting to Protect this turn. I believe Heat Crash. It's 120 base. It will kill. Nice. Okay, so that's the biggest threat to my team gone. I really think Scizor right now is extremely powerful in the endgame. And I can click Gyro Ball here and just get a KO. 65 base? That should still KO. Now, of course, Rillaboom is still a threat, as they actually end up forfeiting. Okay. That was a pretty tough game. I think I played the Heatran maybe too risky, but it did pay off in the end. I knew once I can get Stack Attack and Scizor to set up in the end game, it could have done some good work. So, with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game against Mono Ground. This is going to be a pretty tough game, considering the fact that their stab is going to affect my team so much. I do think Scizor is very, very valuable here, as well as Heatran, honestly. Just to click Eruption and Trick Room is pretty strong. Stack Attack as Air Balloon is invaluable, but unfortunately we don't have much that can actually hurt my opponent. I'm going to open up Melmetal. I kind of expected them to go Crocodile first and try and knock my Stack Attacker, but I kind of value just killing this with Double Iron Bash. Oh, that is... Is that Specs? I really did not think that was going to kill. Okay. Good to know. We're taking Bronzong here, and just try and trick him up. I know Nidoking probably would have killed, but I really didn't think Nidoqueen would with that little bit less special attack. So they're going to Crook here. Part of me wants to boom. I think I value Rocks down well enough just to be able to chip away like Sashes and Sturdy and stuff. Okay. Lariat does a lot, and what we're going to do right now is just boom in his face. It should let me get in Heatran. I feel like boom kills. It's 250 base. It's kind of crazy. Okay, it doesn't. I suppose Crocodile does have a lot of attack. I can get in Heatran here. And potentially just click Eruption. Yeah, we'll click Eruption here. I'm assuming Swampert comes in afterwards. But that'll let me nicely go into Scizor. Assuming they're Toxic, Earthquake, maybe Waterfall or something. Yeah, we're gonna go Scizor. Or do we just value chip on this? Because realistically, when's the next time I'm going to be able to get in my Heatran against them? After I trick them up at Stacka? Yeah, no, we'll go Scizor. I should eat this nicely. As it's Mega, that does a lot of damage, so we're gonna roost off once. Nice. So we're faster. Which means I can curse? Or should I roost again? Theoretically, we can roost out their Earthquakes. We'll curse once. I should be able to live 2 Earthquakes now. Nice. And as long as they don't crit, we can roost up in their face. Now, Nidoqueen is an issue, for sure. Okay. They're going for the freeze, which they got, and thankfully, we thought turn 1. Pretty nice. Let's do a bit of chip here with Dual Wing Beat. Okay, it's pretty good. I'm wondering, does +6 Scizor just kill Nidoqueen? I kind of want to just continuously set up in their face. Ugh. That freeze chance is really, really bad for me. Because they can go Nidoqueen here. We thought. I feel they're going to Fire Blast. I'm going to risk Heatran. If they Earth Power, I can get in. Ah, they Earth Powered. Great play. I should have stayed in and Dual Wing beated. I can get Staka in though. Potentially get up my Trick Room. Oh, they're not specs. Okay. That thing is just crazy strong. They're actually Life Orb. I was not expecting that. Jerry Ball does kill. That's great. That opens up Scizor so much in the endgame. Yes, don't mind if I do take Swampert. I'm pretty convinced this kills. 100 base, stab, +1. It's so strong. And thanks to rocks, things like Excadrill thankfully can't be Sash, if that's what they are. Okay. They gave me Exca. I feel like Landorus is the biggest threat to my team. Especially if it's like Calm Mind or Life Orb Sheer Force is really, really strong. Maybe Dual Wing Beat into Shadow Sneak into Bullet Punch KOs. I think that's what I have to play off. Nice. So they're definitely going to KO me here. They have to... Oh, they're Heavy Duty Boots. Okay, they're not Earth Power. Or it's not Life Orb Earth Power. Oh, hello. Knockoff. Wrong one to keep alive. GG. Okay. We somehow managed to pull that one through. I'm quite surprised. Knockoff. Okay. I mean, we'll take those. And with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Fighting, which is a pretty tough matchup, mainly for Komodo, as well as Keldeo can be quite tough for me. I imagine they're going to try open up a Keldeo, so let's try open up a Heatran and just try get a KO turn 1. They open up Komodo. That is a bad for me. I think we Flash Cannon here. We just value damage off on this so badly, because if it is Drain Punch, it's extremely tough for my team. Now what we're going to do is go into EG and eat up this Drain Punch. Does Shadow Sneak kill? I'm pretty certain it does, as they actually end up forfeiting. Okay. I mean, I know that was a pretty good read in the first 2 turns, but out of curiosity, let's see if that kills. Komodo, Clangorous Soul, Shadow Sneak, +1 defense, 13 to 15%. Okay, so it's pretty much a guaranteed KO on my end, which is a very nice start to the game because that is one of the biggest threats taken care of. So with that, let's pause and be right back. So we have a game here against Mono Psychic. It's a pretty threatening looking team. Victini and Jirachi can be quite scary for me. I assume they're going to open up with their Deoxys. So I'm going to try and just Shadow Ball turn 1. Probably take a Spike. That's okay with me. T-Wave, not the best. T-Wave is not what I wanted to see, if I'm being honest. Please hit. Aegislash. Please work for me. The reason I didn't Shadow Sneak immediately is because I assumed it was going to be Focus Sash. This is brutal. This is brutal. Because I need my Shadow Sneak for something like Mega Alakazam later in the game. That thing's a massive threat to my team, so you hate to see it. What does Tapu Lele do? I feel like just going to Melmetal hard. Because right now, I believe Double Iron Bash just does so much damage to something. It might not kill Jirachi or Victini, but it certainly does a hefty chunk of damage. I mean, that just does so much. We'll try one more Double Iron Bash. They're probably going to go for Iron Flinch Hacks. And they're probably going to get it too. But realistically, I don't actually value HP on my Melmetal that much at all. Is this Sea Celebrate? We'll go Heatran. In case it's like Choice Band V-Create. The U-turn. Okay. Presumably into Latias. Into Zam. They're going to go for a Focus Blast here. So what I'm going to do is try getting my Aegislash and Shadow Sneak for some chip. Ooh, they nasty plotted. Now I definitely need to Shadow Sneak for some chip. Please don't be fully powered. I'm asking you kindly, Aegislash. Because this thing is a massive, massive threat to my team. They go into Lele. Good play. How much did Psychic do last time? 28? Let's go Bronzong. It eats Focus Blast if they want to go for Focus Blast. It eats Psychic for days. Let's just go Stealth Rock here. Always go Victini on this. I'm not willing to risk anything because we can still... Bronzong's always a good swap into Lele. We can Trick Room into Boom. That didn't do too much. We'll Flash Cannon. I expect Lati to come in, trying to eat my Earth Power. And Specs Flash Cannon does a good chunk. We'll just keep Flash Cannon in. They are technically recovering more HP than I'm doing. But I can drop Special Defense, which is really good. Okay, they get rid of rocks. Good play. Zam comes back in. I guess we'll... Do I value this? No, because I think I have Stack Attacker for Victini later in the game. And that puts it in Bullet Punch range, which is very good for me. The Spadef drop sucks, because otherwise I'd live. Do I sack AG? I feel like I sack AG. Now, the question is, what do I go into? I go Scizor. And I'm actually just going to dual in bait here. Alakazam shouldn't be able to Oko me. And they probably go to Tapu Lele wanting to get up their Psychic Terrain. And of course I miss. We'll dual in bait again. It misses. Okay, thank you, Scizor. Thank you for your service. That sucks because that could have killed a long time ago. We'll try Roost a few. Let's just try recover HP here. They go into Victini. Good play. Now, unfortunately, I can't sack my Heatran as easily. Actually, I can. Do I sack Heatran? Because Stacka lives is guaranteed. And as long as I get Trick Room up, I think I just win the game. So we can sack Heatran. They U-turn. Okay. This is fine. They have to go Zam here, otherwise they don't get the terrain up. And we're just gonna Earth Power here. Okay, this is where things get a little more dangerous for me. Again, Scizor lives one, so we dual beat. We should kill Lele. And assuming V-Create doesn't KO Stack Attacker, which I'm pretty certain it doesn't, we should win the game. In fact, I outspeed at -2. Should I sack Bronzong and Melmetal and just get in Stacker? Yeah, I think I keep this alive for Alakazam. So we're going to sack Bronzong here. We're going to get in Stacker, trick him up, and watch me miss my Stone Edge after this pretty bad luck I've been getting today. So assuming I live E-Cray, assuming they don't crit me, or paralyzing me with Ball Strike and fully para, I think I win the game by Trick Rooming up and just clicking Stone Edge into Gyro Ball. Even if Stacka loses, Melmetal Double Iron Bash wins the game. Nice. So I think we guarantee win with Melmetal. And Earthquake even. I'm gonna Stone Edge even though I expect to miss. Okay, we hit. Nice. GG. So we can even just, if they were somehow protect for some reason, we could simply stall out until I get Bullet Punch Scizor in and win the game. GG. So with that, we're going to pause and be right back. So we ended up number 22 on the ladder, which is pretty good. I definitely think I could have done better, though it's unfortunately just the nature of the team I made. It's quite flowcharty, so it really does lose hard to some matchups like Electric and Water and stuff. It's a very hit or miss team. Like, it either destroys teams or just loses to a lot of defensive ones. Anything that resists steel, especially like Melmetal, is the cornerstone of the team. Overall, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And let's discuss the team. So that is going to be it for Mono Steel. As I said earlier, kind of a different take on Steel, but definitely a fun one. I didn't use things like Solar Steel just because personally I don't enjoy using it, I don't enjoy fighting it, so I wanted to just try something different for Steel and see if it can still work, which it can. It's definitely a bit flowcharty, kind of, you know, if one thing falls apart, the entire team kind of falls apart, which is a shame, and not the optimal way to play Pokemon most of the time, but overall I think I managed to adapt. If you enjoyed this take on Steel or enjoyed the video at all, leaving a comment down below really helps me grow as a small creator. I truly do appreciate that. It does not go unnoticed. Also, leaving a like or sharing this with a friend also helps me out so much. It really does make my day, and I really do really appreciate it. So with that, I hope I'll catch you next time, everyone, and take care.